What's in a house? It's 4 walls, a few rooms, and it provides shelter. But for some people, houses are so much more than just a place to live. They are works of art. There's a hobbit house in Wales, a transparent house in Japan, and an upside-down house in Germany, but there are also unique houses here in the US. These houses are the quintessential example of where shelter and art intersect. Imagine if creating your dream home was about more than just how many bedrooms and bathrooms you wanted, or whether you wanted an open concept kitchen or finished basement. These houses go beyond the McMansion and put colonial architecture to shame. In this list, we will look at the 10 most uniquely weird houses across the United States. Believe it or not, there are plenty to choose from, so here is our top 10. Number 10 is the Airplane House just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. If you are flying over it, you might think you are looking down at a plane crash. In the middle of a woodsy area outside of Nashville, there's an airplane nestled among the trees, but it's not the site of the missing Malaysian flight. It's actually a house. Red Lane, born Hollis DeLauder in 1939, was a Nashville Hall of Famer, singer and songwriter who was also a former airplane mechanic and enthusiast. His enthusiasm went far beyond a mere hobby. He converted a DC-8 into his full-time living quarters. In the late 1970s, while visiting Smyrna, Georgia, he saw an old DC-8 being hauled off to be stripped for parts. He decided to buy that aircraft for a price that was never certain, but he told his friends it was somewhere in the vicinity of $10,000. He had the plane transported back to Tennessee, where it became his home sweet home. There's a kitchen in the cockpit and family room in the fuselage. His home was a regular gathering place for musicians and artists who found inspiration in his unique home. Although Red Lane died in 2015, the plane is still in the woods and it creates a jarring reaction to anyone flying over it. Number 9 is Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California, which celebrates its 100-year anniversary as a tourist attraction in 2023. The house was once the personal residence of Sarah Winchester, the widow of firearms entrepreneur William Wirt Winchester. The house became a tourist attraction a mere 9 months after Winchester's death in 1922. It is said to be the most haunted house on Earth. Sarah Winchester could be considered a pioneer of architecture of her time. She fired or dismissed all the architects that were hired to design the house, opting to rather design it herself. She would rebuild and abandon construction if the look didn't meet her exact expectations, which resulted in its iconic maze-like design. Inside the house, there is intricately carved wood, and the ceilings have moldings and stenciling. In terms of its decor, there are chandeliers from Germany, artistic glass from Austria, furniture from Asia, and even paintings from France. Because of Mrs. Winchester's height of only 4 foot 10 inches, there is one staircase that is comprised of 44 steps, but only goes up 10 feet. From the outside, the house looks more like a child's dream of a dollhouse than an actual home, and that earns it a spot on this list. There is actually a movie called Winchester based on this house. Number 8 keeps us in the Bay Area and is the Flintstone House in Hillsborough, California. The house is bright orange and looks like a series of domes coming out of the ground. Though inspired by architects William Nicholson and Wallace Neff, it looks more like something from the Flintstones cartoon, hence its nickname. Its design is actually very innovative and uses atypical materials for a house. It was designed to withstand both wildfires and earthquakes, both of which Northern California is prone to. Constructed in 1976, its original owners, Tyrone and Norma Thompson, planned to give lectures and tours of the home once it was completed. In the 1980s, the house had already fallen into disrepair, as the materials were no match for the water runoff from the mountains, causing damage to the foundation and cracks in the walls. It was restored in 1987, but the story doesn't end there. In September 2015, the home went up for sale with a price tag of $4.2 million. Unfortunately, they had no luck finding a buyer. It went back on the market in 2017 where it sold for $2.8 million. The new owner hilariously installed large steel sculptures of dinosaurs, a woolly mammoth, a giraffe, and Fred Flintstone in the yard. This garnered complaints and even a lawsuit from neighbors who claimed that the house was both an eyesore and a nuisance. Luckily for us and for this video, the owner prevailed and the house still stands with all its weirdness. Number 7 is the Haynes Shoe House in Pelham Township, Pennsylvania. And yes, this house is exactly like what it sounds like. It is a shoe-shaped house. Originally built by Malin Haynes in 1948 to promote his shoe stores, the house was first used as a vacation spot for newlyweds and senior couples, but more recently it became a Vrbo rental. According to Vrbo, it sleeps 6 people and has 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. It also boasts a hot tub and free Wi-Fi. The site says that a night's stay will average you about $229 per night. Not bad if split between 6 people, with the added bonus of sleeping inside a shoe. Let's just hope it doesn't smell like the inside of a shoe. Probably the funniest and most unique feature of the house, aside from being shaped like a shoe, is a stained glass panel that shows original owner Malin holding a pair of shoes with a message below it that reads, "Haynes the Shoe Wizard." This house is a must-see. Number 6 is pretty iconic, even if you are not a weird house enthusiast. It's the Falling Water House in the Laurel Highlands of southwest Pennsylvania, located about 70 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. It is also exactly as the name suggests. Water is literally falling throughout the house. The house was designed by famed architect Frank Lloyd Wright in 1935. When the house was finished, Time magazine called the Falling Water House Wright's most beautiful job, and it is listed among Smithsonian's Life list of 28 places to see before you die. One look at the house confirms what Time magazine had to say. It's built into the hillside and allows the natural flow of water to cascade down through the house. The original estimated cost for building Falling Water was $35,000, but ended up costing a total of $155,000. Adjusted for inflation, that is $3.3 million today. The house is most renowned for its seamless integration into nature. The house is nestled into the background, allowing the earth itself to be the main feature. The fireplace in the living room integrates the boulders that were already there when the house was being built. It is a unique masterpiece and well deserving of its place on this list. Number 5 is the House on the Rock, built in 1959, located between the cities of Dodgeville and Spring Green, Wisconsin. The house itself is atop deer shelter rock and looks like a child's imaginary treehouse combined with a medieval fort. There are just as many features inside as there are outside the house that make it unique. One room boasts automated musical instruments operated by inserting tokens. There is a carousel and a Heritage of the Sea exhibit with a life-sized sculpture of a whale and models of ships throughout history. On the outside, there is the Infinity Room that juts out 218 feet from the house without supports underneath. The room has over 3,000 windows. The house has inspired several authors and musical groups. The house was the setting for the 10,000 Maniacs music video More Than This. And the 2017 film American Fable featured parts of the house, including the carousel and Infinity Room in a dream sequence. Number 4 is the Whale House in Santa Barbara, California. It's designed and modeled after the bodily structure of a whale, has no right angles, and is full of wavy lines and unconventional features. Built in 1978, the house is inspired by famed Spanish architect Antoni Gaudí, whose avant-garde style is most famous in Barcelona. Pictures just don't do this house justice. An interior courtyard, affectionately located in the belly of the whale, includes beautiful patio space, an outdoor shower, and a 75-foot rock-lined pool that stretches through a wooden tunnel. It'll be your own biblical Jonah experience, or Geppetto from Pinocchio. According to Realtor.com, the house is on the market listed at a mere $2.99 million. That seems cheap for California, particularly for a unique house. The listing says the house is 2,606 square feet with 3 bedrooms sitting on a half-an-acre lot. So call your realtor and schedule your showing and own a part of history. Number 3 is the Mushroom House. The Mushroom House, or Pod House, is a contemporary home in the town of Perrinton, New York. The house looks like a combination of a mushroom and a UFO saucer. The house has been featured on HGTV's Offbeat America series and in the book series Weird US, and it certainly is weird. The house was constructed for an attorney-artist couple named Robert and Marguerite between 1970 and 1972. It was and has been used as a residence, although it was designated a town landmark in 1989. The house has changed hands several times and was even for rent if you were willing to spend $6,900 a month. Visually, the house is interesting and even has stems just like a real mushroom. The sides of each mushroom cap are completely covered in windows. One cap serves as the living and dining area, one as the kitchen, and 2 as sleeping areas. An additional half pod provides an open deck area. The house has 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and is a humongous 4,168 square feet. Number 2 is Casa Neverlandia in Austin, Texas. What was once a small 1-story house built in 1906 is now a 3-story home. When you head up to the door, instead of a doorbell, you'll find a xylophone, just one of the many whimsical elements in the house. The mansion is equipped with solar panels, a rainwater collection system, secret passages, fire poles, a footbridge, tubes you can talk through, a hidden concert stage, and other hideaways that bring out your inner child as you explore. This colorful playground is open for tours and is worth seeing if you're in Austin. The house fits into Austin's unique personality. The house is aptly named as it harkens back to a world of Peter Pan, where kids never grow up and the imagination is always at play. What kid, or adult for that matter, wouldn't want to explore secret passages in an old mansion? And number 1 is the cabin on the roof located at 719 Greenwich Street in the heart of the West Village. That's right, there is a suburban cabin complete with a meadow on the roof of a Manhattan building. When most people from New York City want a more suburban lifestyle, they go out to Long Island or upstate New York, but this takes suburban living to a whole new level. The house itself is not unique, but its location is, smack dab on the top of a 6-story building. It is so bizarre that it was featured in the New York Times in 2006. The lucky family doesn't have to find greener pastures out in the suburbs to hear the slamming of a screen door or to birdwatch on their porch. The couple who built it was inspired by a trip to Elk Lake, Pennsylvania, and decided that they can have their own rural cake while eating their urban lifestyle too. The building it sits atop is private property with other residents, so you probably can't see the house anytime soon. However, if you take a helicopter tour of the city, you may be lucky enough to catch a glimpse.